Hey everybody, welcome back. I want to get this quick recording in before I hit the gym this morning. So I, like most people, watched the Oprah Winfrey special on ABC last night. Uh, it's called Shame, Blame, and the Weight Loss Revolution. If you didn't get a chance to catch it, it is on Hulu, streaming on Hulu as of today. So I encourage you to go check it out for yourself if you have Hulu. I think it was pretty well done. They had a few users of these GLP medications on the show to discuss their stories, along with some obesity medicine experts. Started off with a woman named Amy who had lost 160 pounds. She talked about the shame of obesity, the food noise, the lack of food control, and how food controls your life. You're planning everything around food in your next meal. You're eating breakfast and you're already thinking about what's for lunch. You're eating lunch, you're already thinking about what's for dinner and all your snacks and things of that nature. And she talked about the guilt she even experienced after losing weight, and feeling sorry for the woman that she was that lived in the larger body, and how differently her kids were treated um, from when she was obese and from when she lost the weight. She lost 160 pounds using GLP-1 medications. Her struggle with diabetes and all the effects of diabetes itself. And then Oprah brought on Dr. W. Scott Bush. I think that's how you say his name. He's the director of obesity medicine at the Cleveland Clinic. He talked about obesity being a complex disease um, that is influenced by genetics, by environments, by food environments, by sleep, the change in microbes due to processed food, and how your brain controls your fat, your food intake, your metabolism, and how there is, for people that suffer from obesity, how there is a disruption in the regulatory system in the brain that controls those mechanisms. Um, and as you lose weight, your body wants to slow your metabolism and make you feel more hungry, in an attempt to get back to a weight set point. And some people have a higher weight set point than others. So there's always this constant struggle as you're putting yourself in a caloric deficit and fighting against your body because your body wants to maintain or get back to that weight set point, and you're trying to get away from it, and your body is fighting against you. So that's why you see these yo-yo diets as well. Um, Oprah also talked about her own struggle with weight loss, and I remember, I grew up in a household where my mom watched Oprah, um, and just in the culture at the time, there was always some kind of tabloid at the supermarket checkout line about Oprah and her weight. I remember vividly the episode where she had lost the weight. She um, displayed herself to the world. She came out after losing, I think it was 60 pounds on a liquid diet. And she rolled this radio flyer red wagon out with 60 pounds of fat in it to illustrate how much weight she lost. And then the shame that she felt with from being ridiculed in the media and on late night talk shows regarding her weight. And she talked about her own struggle with trying to maintain a lower weight, and her body and her mind fighting against her, and how she now understands it wasn't her fault. And I think many people are in that same situation. Um, After Dr. W. Scott Bush, she brought in Dr. Amanda Velasquez from Cedars-Sinai, who's the director of obesity medicine there. She talked about how a multi-pronged approach is needed in order to combat this disease. It's not just taking a shot. You have to do the work. You have to be in a caloric deficit. Um, you have to work out. There's multiple things, weight resistance training. You have to do some cardio. There's multiple inputs that you need to do in order to get there. But it is not a just as simple as willpower. It's not as simple as calories in and calories out. You have to do the work, and it's not just relying on the shot. You have to think about the long-term approach and your long-term health, and do all those things to change your lifestyle habit in conjunction with the medication itself in order to live a happier, fuller life into the future. And she did mention that it is probably necessary to be on these medications for life. As studies have shown, I think there was a Shermont 4 trial that showed that they went through a 36-week period where people were on the medication for the first 36 weeks, and then they split off a group of at the 36-week mark and put them on placebo. They continued in the program doing the workouts and the diet counseling like the rest of the participants. But only 16.6 of the people that were put on placebo were able to maintain at least 80% of the weight loss during the first 36 weeks of the trial when they were actually on the tirzepatide, like the rest of the participants. And she says that if you go off the medication, studies have shown that the disease is likely to return based off of those clinical trials. And then they talked about treating kids with obesity, but they brought this young lady in from Missouri. Her name is Maggie. She was near 300 pounds at 11 years old. Her mom had took her to various doctors, and they were telling her it's all about calories in and calories out. And she ended up having bariatric surgery at the age of 13, and then was put on Victoza and lost 108 pounds. And in that discussion, the mom mentioned that she put herself on Victoza as well. And Oprah asked them if, they had considered zepbound or Wegovy. And like a lot of people, they mentioned that, their insurance doesn't cover it and they just can't afford it. So, and that's a little discussion about how inaccessible these medications are to people that really need them because of lack of insurance coverage through the providers, and the affordability of that, and when their insurance doesn't cover it. And hopefully, more employers will start opting in to cover these medications, so there's not such a huge financial burden on folks trying to manage these medications or manage the disease of obesity and all the components that come along with it, like diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, cardiovascular diseases, and things of that nature. Oprah did bring on the CEO of Weight Watchers, and in the process of that, she mentioned why she stepped down from the board and donated her shares of Weight Watchers. She said that it was because she didn't want a conflict of interest between her being on the board and owning shares of Weight Watchers and doing the special, which it's kind of understandable, but it also didn't make a whole lot of sense in the moment because I don't see what the conflict of interest would be unless there's more coming down the pipeline for her in regards to these medications and whatnot. So we'll see what the future holds for Oprah and these GLP-1 medications. Later on, she brought on the chief medical correspondent for ABC, Dr. Jen Ashton. Um, and she pointed out how there is a 20-year history of GLP medications, and that there is an extensive safety track record and efficacy for the medication. So it's not like these things are new to the market. Um, she talked about the decisions that, there are 4 questions that should be asked if you're considering using these medications. And those questions are: what are the risks of taking these drugs versus the risk of not taking the drugs? And what are the benefits of taking these drugs versus the benefits of not taking these drugs? Um, because we do know that if you don't treat obesity, the risk of other complications can occur. Things like heart attack, stroke, cancer, diabetes, um, and a whole host of things. So that has to be part of your decision making. Do you take these drugs and deal with the gastro side effects of the medication, or do you put yourself at risk for other health complications in the future? And I think she had the quote of the night. She stated, if you had high blood pressure or high cholesterol, if you had depression, you would treat it. It is conclusively known that the conditions of overweight and obesity are complex chronic disease states, not character flaws, and they should be managed accordingly. So I think that's a very powerful statement when dealing with um, this drug, or dealing with obesity and deciding to take this drug, and you shouldn't be shamed for it. And then there was a discussion about side effects. There was a young lady on. She didn't say what medication she was taking at the time, but she took some medication, and she experienced significant nausea and was throwing up a lot, and at one point threw up some blood, and she decided to no longer take the medication. She did say that she is considering taking another form of the medication, but was scared because of the experience that she had on the initial medication. Um, so they got a little further into that discussion, and um, Dr. Velasquez piped in and said that these side effects are mild to moderate, and there needs to be education around the side effects and the effective management of those side effects, and that there is a lot of overhyped sentiments around side effects, particularly around pancreatitis, gallbladder, and thyroid cancer. And these things are overblown because they have not been shown in any trials to have a human impact. There are just warnings of things that could happen. And then lastly, at the close of the show, she brought in 2 executives from the major manufacturers, Nova Notice and Eli Lilly. I thought it was funny. She asked the Nova Notice executive what is going on in their mind when they're seeing Ozempic and Wegovy blow up on TikTok. And the executive completely dodged the question, and she sounds like she was given a PR statement that she needed to get out. Didn't answer the question whatsoever, but she went into how there's a 20-year history at an overdose of weight loss medication drugs, and how she herself suffers with being overweight and dealing with obesity and managing that. So I thought it was just funny that she didn't answer the question. So all in all, I think it was a good special. Hopefully, it opens more eyes and more doors for people to access these medications. And lastly, I hope it doesn't cause more shortages. We're seeing a lot of shortages on mounjaro currently. There are anecdotal evidence about some shortages, at least regionally, of zepbound for certain medications. Seeing 7.5 and 10 being impacted the most, it sounds like. Um, Hopefully, production does ramp up and we don't see and people are able to access the medication as needed instead of having to skip doses and take them. You know, I think there are some. You know, there are some people in some of these groups are saying that they've gone a month or so without having access to mounjaro and whatnot. So hopefully, the special doesn't impact the accessibility in terms of people getting their hands on it, but it does improve accessibility in terms of employers covering the medication. So that's it. That's my summary of what I saw last night. And hopefully you'll get a chance to catch it on Hulu if you didn't catch it. If you have any comments or feedback, please leave them. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications about when I post my next video. Hope everyone has a great day. We'll talk to you later. Bye.